Finally, for the past year or so, we've been hearing so much about artificial intelligence, but you guys have never really heard me weigh in on some of this stuff. As far as generative AI type stuff with text or art, I've always kind of been on the fence, but I've done a lot of research over the past few months, especially with Joanna Penn. You guys ever get the opportunity? Follow the Creative Penn, follow her podcast. She talks a lot about AI, and she talks a lot about some of the stuff that you need to kind of consider and some of the stuff that you shouldn't. But I will probably save you some of the trouble because I do feel like some of my beliefs align with Joanna Penn's in that artificial intelligence can be a positive thing. Now, if you're the type of person that says, hey, look, AI is not for me, Dale. It's garbage. It's unethical. I don't think there's going to be any amount of what I'm going to say in this podcast that's going to convince you otherwise. But I just would hopefully that if you've ever tuned into this podcast, even for half of a second, that you at least give me a little bit of time to kind of explain my stance, because you'll understand that AI is not inherently good or bad. It's just how you leverage it that makes the most difference.
Learn how to publish books and build your author business with award-winning author and self-publishing consultant Dale L. Roberts. This is the Self-Publishing with Dale podcast.
I am super pumped up because today marks the beginning of a new sponsorship, and I've been sitting on this one for a little while. I'm so excited. Introducing Dibbly Create. Now, it's the ultimate tool for your projects. Collaborate in real time, capture your ideas effortlessly, and supercharge your creativity. With the AI powerhouse, easy for me to say, Kip, you're unstoppable. Yeah, they got a AI-powered assistant called Kip, K-I-P. Generate summaries, outlines, and even have productive chats, customize text styles, formatting, and layouts to make your project truly yours. Export with ease, work offline, and stay productive on the go. Unleash your potential with Dibbly Create. Visit my affiliate link at dalelinks.com/Dibbly Create. That's D-I-B-B-L-Y Create, as let's create something, and redefine your creative process today. Dibbly Create, where projects come to life. Again, that's dalelinks.com/Dibbly Create. All right, this is the heated debate over AI use. A lot of people say, oh, it's bad, it's good, it's all this stuff. Is generative AI good or bad? Well, here's the deal. Whoever feels that it's bad, simply not using the tools doesn't mean it's going to go away. The cat's already out of the bag. It's already, in the zeitgeist of this whole, self-publishing and publishing everywhere else. So, it's not going anywhere. And to be truthful with you, it just depends on how you're leveraging this tool. There are many tools out there that can be leveraged for good or for bad. I think we can all agree about that. Now, aren't there issues with copyright surrounding generative AI? Well, yeah. There's a lot of heated debates and some court cases that are right now in play that could probably dictate the future of copyright and how you can be able to copyright something that is AI generated. Now, there have been some instances where AI generation, not able to copyright, but then there are some instances where if you're creating something that's derivative of the AI generated work, in other words, you're putting your own spin on it, then you can copyright it. So doesn't AI steal work from authors and artists? We hear this a lot. They steal work from authors and artists. Unfortunately, we've found out on a lot of occasions that there are some of these AI sites like ChatGPT that were sadly scraping online platforms for information to kind of build out their understanding for the AI. And unfortunately, they roped in some pirated websites, some book pirating websites. Now, to me, I don't look at generative AI to use it to make complete work. If you're looking for that hype beast, I am not the person. All right. I am not the type of person that's going to say to you, hey, get some AI stuff and you're going to be able to churn out some books in no time flat. No. It's just not that good yet, to be honest with you. You need to have some type of human intervention to make sure that it actually is good. that it is better. And that's where copyright kind of comes in, because if you create it all by AI and you just pump it on out, we're running into copyright issues. But if you as a human can intervene and collaborate with AI, then you have the ability to copyright. Now, how can I use AI without drawing the ire of my fellow authors? That might be a question you're asking yourself. I know I've asked it myself as well. Let me talk about another divisive topic, ghostwriting. Where do you stand when it comes to ghostwriting? Do you believe it's an unethical practice? Or do you believe it is a good business practice? Because I will tell you that ghostwriting to me is completely ethical, so long as it's used in the right fashion. So ghostwriting, to some people though, they feel that it is dishonest, that it is disingenuous, that you're using another writer to write content that you're going to profit from. Now, let's just put aside the fact that when you hire a ghostwriter, you're paying them up front, that they are not taking the risk. You are taking all of the risk in hiring a ghostwriter. But the bottom line is this: ghostwriting, to me, is perfectly fine. It is a good business model. It is traditional publishing houses have been doing it for years upon years. Ghostwriting's been around for hundreds of years at this point. So for us to sit here and be, saying, well, it's ethical and not ethical. Well, it just depends. I'm not going to sit here and try to convince you of whether ghostwriting is ethical to you. Because if you feel it is unethical, then I'm not going to sit here and try to badger you. The same thing goes for AI. It just depends on how you're leveraging it. Now, here's what I need you to kind of pay attention to. This is the part I want to make your life a little bit easier. AI will optimize your workflow through efficient systems, meaning that you could work without AI. Yeah, you could write without any of the fancy tech and tools. Yes, for sure. But it takes so much longer. We could even make the argument that you can write an entire book by hand, and it has been done many, many times over the years. Or maybe we can just even dig out the old typewriter, the electric typewriter, and clack, clack, clack. Don't forget to get out your whiteout so you can be able to put it between the paper and the actual clackers. I don't know what those are called. But could you write without any of these tools? Yes. Would it be okay to try one form of AI over the others? Maybe just dabble a little bit. Because AI is meant to help you, to get it to where you're working more efficiently. Sure, no one will force you to use AI, but you would greatly benefit from its many uses if you implemented at least one tool. Now, get ahead of the curve and start learning some uses for AI that doesn't impede your current workflow or erode your integrity. And I'm going to share with you my thoughts, because I've got kind of a split idea of how I feel about AI and how I leverage it. For instance, I'm not the biggest fan of generative AI, since I can't really control much of the finished product. I've just put in a bunch of prompts and all of a sudden I've got this really cool looking piece of art. If I was a bit savvier with graphic design software, I'd use it more. Now, I met an author at 20 Books Vegas last year through mutual friend Evan Gao of Story Origin. Now, this author had shared with SD Houston and I while we were having some supper, I think it was that evening. This author shared how he'd used Midjourney to draft concepts that he'd then hand off to a graphic designer and said, "Here's what I'm thinking of." So it was getting it to where he could better communicate with his graphic designer to collaborate on something more in line of what he was thinking about. Now, for the text-based generative AI, I'm just going to recommend this to you. If you do use it to create specific passages, always check for plagiarism. Always. There's no exception to the rule. Now, there are a number of plagiarism checking tools out there through ProWriting, Grammarly. Just Google it up. You'll be able to find that type of stuff. But I always just recommend that you take a look. Make sure that you are not taking somebody's intellectual property by accident. Now, there are some tools you can use to detect AI, but they aren't very accurate these days. A good friend of mine and former guest here of this channel, Sean Dolwitt, has been covering a ton about AI, and he actually has some of the tools he's used for detecting AI to make sure that when he's utilizing that it's not coming back as being created by AI content. Now, he found a lot of false positives and other times, not so much. So just fair warning, you want to make sure that when you're utilizing it, that you're getting as clean an output as possible. So with all of that out of the way, I think it's important that we go ahead and discuss about 4 tools to consider for AI usage within your business. And it's not limited to these 4 tools here, folks. You're only one Google search away, odd choice of words considering what I'll be mentioning in the tools, but you're one Google search away from figuring out what's a good AI tool. I mean, literally, all you got to do is just go over to Google and say, what are the best AI tools for authors? And you'll be able to find it. But let me give you mine. I'm going to share the ones that I have utilized and I have enjoyed. Now, the very first one out the gate is going to be ProWritingAid. Now, you're probably saying, wait, hang on a second. Isn't that a grammar checking tool, Dale? You're correct. It is a grammar checking tool. And I have used it and I've been a fanboy of it and I'm an affiliate for it. So if you're averse to me sharing any products that I get a little bit of a kickback from it, you probably shouldn't be tuning in. But for ProWritingAid, I think it's fantastic. I paid full retail value for lifetime access to it. It was just so worth it. Now, you're probably saying, wait a second. ProWritingAid. Oh, grammar checking tools. I am wholeheartedly, fully aware of the backlash from grammar snobs that feel that utilizing grammar checking tools is for noobs or for people who don't know the English language. Now, that is very short-sighted because I don't know about you. This is my full-time job. I am an author and video content creator. And one of the best ways to get through my work as quick as humanly possible is utilizing tools like ProWritingAid to help me get out all the things that I need to and refine it as best I can. Now, I'm not saying ProWritingAid is my full-time editor. ProWritingAid is only just polishing things before I send it over to a human editor. But at any rate, there are other, things to kind of consider. English as a second language. People are going to be using grammar checking devices out there. Now, ProWritingAid actually more recently came up with something they call Rephrase. Now, Rephrase, in their words, gets dozens of rewording options for any sentence, whether you want to add flair to your content, make your emails easier to read, or ditch writer's block. Try Rephrase, built by ProWritingAid, powered by GPT-3. Now, those of you that are probably not in the know that ChatGPT is one of the most popular and probably the one that's aped the most is ChatGPT. And you have either ChatGPT 3 or 4, or there's even 3.5. Now, 3 dates back to anything before 2021. So anything that's online, it's going to reference those things. If you're looking for more current data, unfortunately, it's there. But you really don't need to have super up-to-date GPT in order to actually utilize Rephrase, because you're just looking to rephrase your sentences. I love this. I really wished I had this tool back last year when I was working with my fiction writing coach, Jeannie DeVita, because there would be some times where she would challenge me. She'd say, ooh, this sentence really doesn't make sense. Could you reword this? Or this is a little too long. If I had Rephrase, it would make things so much easier. Now, granted, not all rephrases are going to be perfect. Some of them are going to be like, what? What you just got to do is take what they give you and put a little bit of a human element into it. Now, as you are probably familiar, ProWritingAid comes for free and premium. Now, free options, you can have up to 10 rephrases per day. Not bad. Not bad. And you do have some limitations too for the grammar checking and all that type of stuff. So you don't get all the tools when you get it for free, but not too bad for free. Now, the premium option allows you unlimited rephrases. I highly recommend you do get the premium option if you can afford it. Visit my affiliate link at dalelinks.com/pro-writing-aid for more details. Last I knew it, they were actually having a birthday celebration. It was 25% off. If not, when you visit my link, it'll be at least 20% off for certain plans. All right, so that was Pro Writing Aid, talking about grammar checking tools. But there's another resource I use a lot. Even putting together some of my broadcasts, I will use it. It's Google, but Google's got a tool called Google Bard. It's 100% free to use. Love it. It is so simple. You just literally can just go over into Google. If it's, installed right there, you could be able to go over into Google, open it on up, search up wherever you normally are going to look for, and then it will generate some text for you based on some of what you're looking up, and they'll also cite some different articles. I love that about this version of working with AI, because one of the biggest issues, you go over to something like a ChatGPT, you ask it a question, it's not going to give you the source. It doesn't readily hand it like, oh yeah, we got it from this site, and this site. Sure, you could probably ask and might get some websites, but otherwise it's really tough. And if you're a nonfiction author like me, I like to actually have some good reputable sources. So it's easy to find sources to cite when you're using Google Bard. Now, I wouldn't recommend using Bard as a cited source since the output will change based on the user and the prompt. So meaning that if you're using APA, endnotes of some sort, that you're citing your sources, you don't necessarily want to put in the link to Google Bard of where you looked it up, because obviously that's going to change based on the person that's going to be utilizing it. So just fair warning, if you happen to be using something like this, then, there's that. So I don't think I need to kind of, expand on that too much more. Love me some Google Bard, probably one of my favorite tools. I have used ChatGPT. I still feel Google Bard is just a little bit better, because if I don't find something that I want to through AI, literally I've got the Google search right there. And yes, you can go directly over to Google Bard. I think it's bard.google.com or something like that. Free. Can't beat it, folks. All right, this next one here actually comes from the fine folks over at Dibbly Create. Yes, that's right. The sponsors of this so happen to be the ones that I'll be talking about. So if you're the type of person who's like, oh boy, here we go, Dale's going to go ahead and sell me on some stuff. Look, I've been talking with the founders of this company, good friends of them for quite a few years now, and they've been working on this slowly but surely. Now, Dibbly Create essentially is a word processing cloud-based software that has AI integration. In fact, in their words, they say, experience the combining power of human creativity and artificial intelligence, crafting authentic content that truly resonates at unprecedented speed. So essentially, where AI comes in is through their AI assistant called Kip. The jury's still out, the information, I asked them, what did Kip stand for? And I completely forgot to actually include this in my notes and such. So in any event, Kip is like a little tiny bot, and you'll be working on something, for instance, and you just click on him and you can be able to find any type of information that you want to, like you would for normal, AI type work. And as well, he will help out with rephrasing, help out with doing some research. There's so many other tools that are baked into Dibbly Create that I could probably spend an entire podcast telling you about. Now, the creator of Dibbly Create, Marco Motino, specifically shared with me that Kip is not there to do all your work. It's merely there to make you more efficient. So this means that he's not going to be the hype beast that's going to tell you, yeah, you could go ahead and write entire books with AI without lifting a finger. Nah. What he'll do is he'll generate outlines, rephrase sentences, research topics, and so much more. You could use platforms like ChatGPT for free, but you're limited on what you get that way. Not to mention the extra steps of copying and pasting work to a Word document and all that kind of fuss. Having Kip available in the same space I work removes the friction, making it easy to get my content done faster. Now, as you can imagine, there is free access with some limitations in token use. Now, tokens are essentially like a way to use Kip, a number of words that they're able to generate. Now, I can't remember off the top of my head. It is insane amount of tokens they're giving for free access at this point. So you may want to go ahead and get yourself some access relatively soon. But for premium access, it's much more robust in features with a higher token limit at about 1 million per month. 1 million words. I think that's going to get you covered. With more, if you want more details, go on over, visit my affiliate link at dalelinks.com/DibleyCreate. I'm sure that's not going to be the last time I'm going to be talking about Dibley Create since they are the sponsors here. I'd already planned this podcast recording well before this deal got started up and was just happened to slip it on in here because I've been working with Dibley Create for the past few weeks. Love it, by the way. Now, we've talked about all these text-based generative AI programs, but what about art? All right. I've tried out a number of art programs, and one of the ones I've enjoyed so far is Leonardo.ai. Now, it is generative AI art. Really good, by the way. They have various templates and styles to choose from, so it's almost overwhelming. Now, they are free with limitations, such as if you do create and generate an image through the free plan, they will make that image publicly available. That usually works like that for most of the AI art platforms out there, that it's publicly available. And if that means it's publicly available, that means other people can utilize your art that you're wanting to have ownership of and not have anybody else, use it. Now, with premium, you do have that privacy option. You can still make it available for public if you wanted to. But if you want to have that privacy option, it gets it to where it's behind a wall and no one's going to be messing around with it. Now, the biggest issue with free AI art programs is everyone's using them. And you've got 1 or 2 or maybe a few dozen people out there that are going to wait for you to do the work and swipe up your work and sell it as their own. So that is one of the biggest issues. So if you do tap into something like AI art, think of it in the same way that I said with text-based generative AI, is change it. Make some type of a deviation. Make it yours. Make it to where it is something that you have uniquely made in collaboration with AI. Hey, just a really quick special thanks to our sponsors, Dibley Create. Elevate your projects with Dibley Create, where collaboration meets AI-powered innovation. Get free or premium access when you visit my affiliate link at dalelinks.com/DibleyCreate. Big shout out to the folks over at Dibley Create. I appreciate you guys. All right, here's my final thoughts here, folks. Artificial intelligence isn't inherently good or evil. It's only what you make of it. I'm not going to be over here, as I said before, trying to convince you that AI is something that you should try or should do or see my views. And I don't recommend you trying to talk me out of how I feel about AI, because I'll probably just delete your comment anyways. It's truth. It's either good or evil to some people. That's fine. To me, I think it's what you do, what the intent is behind using it. And if it's to help to optimize your flow, do it. Absolutely. But if it's yours to try to churn out a bunch of garbage and put somebody else's author name on there, like for instance, a couple weeks ago, I shared how Jane Friedman had somebody pretty much pretending to be her with a bunch of garbage AI type content thrown into it. That's not good. But we can't sit here and throw the baby out with the bathwater, all right? We need to escort out the evil ones, the bad people, the bad actors, the ne'er-do-wells. They're all going to come, no matter what. It's in all walks of life here, folks. So it's not inherently good or evil. It can be good, so long as you make it that way. In due time, AI will improve and prompts will become a bit easier. In the meantime, what I would recommend is if you do leverage these avenues, do it safely. Do it in moderation. Do it in a way that doesn't erode what you bring to the table as an author. Join me next week as I continue the series about writing and publishing books faster, where we wrap up this series and tie everything together from the past few weeks. Till later, this has been Self-Publishing with Dale, and I will see you next week.
You've been listening to the Self-Publishing with Dale podcast. Visit us at selfpublishingwithdale.com for more information on how you can level up your self-publishing business. Also, check out our growing video-on-demand service, chock full of free and premium content, when you head over to theselfpublishinghub.com. If you enjoyed the show, please consider leaving a review on your preferred podcasting platform. We thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next episode.